Hi, this is Bob Samuels from Tech Connector. One of my favorite parts of my job is to speak with really sharp marketers and learn about cool things going on. And this is no exception. So happy to bring you this discussion. Mark Ogney and I get a chance to speak with Tracy and get a little bit learn about what she's going to be talking about on Monday at the B2BMX. But it's a pleasure and an honor to be here. So thank you for both of you for joining. If you
Thanks for
can
having me.
each give an introduction of yourself and your background and a little bit of background about ABM and that sort of thing, that would be helpful. Mark, if you want to start.
Oh, sure. Yeah, Mark Ogney, founder of the ABM Consortium, multi-time CMO. Just this is one of those things that's probably a calling for me, not just a skill. Like I wake up in the morning and pinch myself and say, like, "Hey, I got to work today." So I've always had that thought that if what's the old saying? If you find something that you like and you can make money at it, do it because then you'll never work a day in your life. It'll always be fun. And
Beautiful.
so, yeah, I'm really excited to hear about tracing and Telemize because, boy, it's been maybe 15 years ago. I was involved at an early on with a website personalization company, one of the first three or four competitors that came out. So I'm really eager to hear where this is all at today.
Excellent. Thanks, Mark. Tracy?
Well, thanks for having me, you guys. I'm Tracy Sestilli. I am a three-time CMO, first-time CRO. It's been a fun adventure, as I like to call it, learning both sides of the coin. I started out my career in operations and then moved to marketing, in which case, Mark, is when I said, I should have changed this 10 years ago. I'm actually having fun now. So, which is why I call moving to CMO to CRO a fun adventure. But yeah, I've been in Telemize for 2 years. We're an experience optimization platform that specializes in personalization with AI. And I'm just happy to be here. So good to meet you guys.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, if I can start with the
both
first
on
question, I think
yeah.
Bob's breaking up a little bit right there. Can you help define the experience optimization platform? What do you see that as involving? And um, you know, yeah, if you could start there, that'd be great.
To me, I sort of think of it as like optimizing the buyer's journey from start to finish as they go through, because I think the buyer's journey has evolved over the past several
Yeah,
years. And I also think it's different in B2B than it is for B2C or D2C even. And it's sort of making sure that your prospects and your customers get the best experience possible on your site when they're visiting, because your website is your biggest digital asset as a marketer, right? And
yeah,
we tend to neglect it. Take it for granted, I would say.
yeah. Are you there, Bob? I think you're
Yeah,
breaking up
so
on
I
me.
don't know if you can hear me okay. Can you hear me okay? Beautiful. So tell me, you mentioned your CR.
Uh,
That was great. He's coming
oh,
back. Look at him.
coming back with a vengeance.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'm in my car somewhere. So CRO you're in charge of both marketing and sales.
Yes.
So you don't have the lot of the pointing as much. Marketing saying, "Hey, salespeople, they don't know what they're doing." Salespeople saying, "Marketing's giving us a bunch of crap," and blah blah blah.
No, we have a lot of, I think it's one of the positives of going from CMO to CRO, as opposed to a lot of CROs come from sales typically, and they don't have any marketing background. I think when you're coming from the marketing side of things, and I've ran ops and have operationalized sales for like 15 years. So when you come with that experience, it's sort of, granted, I'm still lacking some of the sales skill sets or, being in the trenches. Although I did just sell my first 2 deals, so I just want to pat myself on the back. I can
Yeah.
officially say I'm a SaaS seller now. But I would say that it gives you a holistic view of the whole thing. And also it lets you sort of open up the lines of communication a bit better. The alignment is definitely there because, like one of the first things I did when I came on board was basically change the name of our team and we call ourselves the revenue team. Because to me, marketing and sales both contribute to revenue, and so does CS. We have a really close relationship with CS, but someone else manages that team. And it's, you know, if demand gen, is doing really well, but sales isn't hitting their number, then there's a problem, right? Or, if sales is hitting their number, maybe it doesn't matter like what demand gen is doing, but maybe they're not doing enough, right? So there's always something to like look at. And I think, we have this rule, like, it doesn't matter how any one person is doing in their role, we all have to be doing well together. And so that's where the sort of the synchronicity comes into play.
I really like that idea of the CRO, first of all. Secondly, coming from marketing. And my background is I was actually a sales leader many, many years ago, like a whole generation ago, it seems like, and turned operating executive. And this now was at the beginning of kind of the dot-com era. And it's like, wow, marketing now can actually speak to more people directly.
Yeah.
And that's actually the way I started marketing, was thinking of it more as a salesperson trying to engage with more people at one time than, a phone call or just a one-on-one meeting. Um, so, can you speak more about that? Like, do you think that it was a real tough decision? Was it a tough transition? Did it come along pretty easily within Telemise when you took the role?
Um, I would say, well, I inherited a sales team. So I always think that there's always challenges with inheriting a team. Because you have to, as much as they feel like that they have to prove themselves now to a new manager, like you also have to prove yourself as a new manager to them that you're worthy. And so I think, having now gone through a fiscal year end close, I think has really helped, with things. And I would say initially it seemed natural to me. It may not have seemed natural to the sales team. But now I think, again, like I said, I've closed 2 of my own SaaS deals. I think there's like, there's a new level of respect, I think. And, I don't claim to know everything because I don't. You know, as a first time CRO, there are still things that I'm still learning about, like on the, I know a lot about procurement because I've bought a lot of software in my day, but, there's legal things and privacy things and things like that, you just don't deal with on the marketing side of the house all the time. So I think that that's really interesting. And also, I was talking to an SVP of sales from a previous company, and he said, "You thought it was easy, didn't you?" And I said, "I never said it was easy. I know it's not easy." And I think the communication of that to not only the marketing team, but the executive team and how you present that to the board also matters. Of like, you really have to understand the market and understand what's happening and why deals are stalling or why deals accelerated for a certain reason. And just living, eating, and breathing in the market and understanding what's happening really helps with the transition of the role, I think. And I've now hired a couple of new people, so to join the old team, and so it's working out pretty well.
Excellent. If I could extend another question is, more than a few times in my career when I was working with marketing technologies or advertising technologies where our audience is another marketer,
Yeah.
the sales team, like, well, you just don't know about marketing or about our buyers. Like, dude, I
I am your
your
buyer.
I'm trying to tell you from my perspective, what lands and what doesn't. Have you had those
Oh
experiences?
yeah. Not at Intellimise, because at Intellimise, it's really interesting. The product and engineering teams, as well as the sales teams, like they know that we're the buyer. So we get asked a lot of questions from a marketing perspective of like, what would you be looking for if you were, what are you hoping the tool would do, or things like that, or if they have a new feature that they're thinking about running by us. In previous companies I've worked where marketing was like a stepchild of, product and engineering, or, or a stepchild of sales. And it's just, and they were MarTech companies too. So where we were targeting marketers, and yet somebody always thought that they knew. I always think, you know, I'm sure that this has happened to you, but I think every single person is a marketer deep down inside. Like, I think that they want to be, because let's face it, it's fun. And, but it's also, it's not as easy as people think it is. I think a lot of people who don't know anything about marketing are like, well, throw up some words and some pretty pictures and there you have it. But today it's more data driven. And it's actually quite complex to put it all together. And I think, you know, again, it's similar to how, like, you know, trying to get into sales and understand the trenches and what they go through. It's the same. I would challenge any product engineering salesperson to sort of get in the trenches of marketing for like a week and see how it goes.
Cross training. It's
Yeah.
good. Yeah. It gives you a lot of
Yeah.
empathy when you put somebody else's shoes on it, is a way of thinking it. I
Yes, it definitely does. I used to do that years ago, and this is 20 years ago. I had a split team. It wasn't sales and marketing, it was a split team of another kind. But you know, when you have split teams, there's always like, well, we do more work than they do. And I decided to do lunch and learns. And I said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to have lunch and learns every Friday. I'll supply the pizza. And everybody's going to get up and do a 45-minute presentation of what it is that you do and what a day in the, you know, what it's like a day in the life. And so that really opened up collaboration and communication a bit more, because all of a sudden it was like, wow, I didn't know that that took so much time to do X, Y, and Z. And I thought it was really cool. I haven't done that since because I haven't had the need to, but it was kind of fun.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. So I want to get back to talking about the website personalization. So
Yeah.
Mark, you mentioned you were exposed to or created website personalization 10 years ago.
Oh, like 2005, 2004, I was actually in the first landing page handbook for Marketing Sherpa talking about website optimization. And then I went 2005 into a website personalization company, and we had an exit in 2007. So yeah, we had a couple different solutions that we offered, but I'm sure it's just gone a long ways from
Yeah,
where
and
we were.
I'm curious how things have changed. I mean, and personalization could be anything from, you know, its name, or I mean, so what is personalization these days, Jason? What's the
I,
level of personalization?
I think it's vast. It's a lot. Well, first of all, I think AI has changed the game in personalization. But before I talk about that, like, there's so many things, right? I think as marketers, we used to, you know, substitute their first name in an email, and that was personalization, right? But it has evolved a ton. You can create rich experiences by spinning up, you know, a landing page from scratch that has dynamic content in it that speaks to somebody, you know, in their time zone, in their buyer stage, you know, in their job function even, right? You can use, you know, like UTM parameters. You can target people from where they're coming from. You can use your own first party data if you want to enhance some of that. You can enable your sales team to personalize landing pages for prospects and personalize emails for them. So I think there's just a lot of, people say personalization, but I think it means different things to different people.
Right.
And it's certainly in different industries, it means something different as well. It's really easy as humans to understand what personalization's like in, you know, retail or e-commerce, right? We all buy things and we know what it's like to be a consumer, and, you know, you go to somebody's website and you're followed around for, you know, for 30 days with an ad for a pair of shoes that you looked at. And there is that type of personalization, so that when you come back to the site, maybe those shoes are front and center. So there's things like that. But
Just keep
you
going.
know, but I think that it's just changed. It just evolved over time, and you can be smarter about it, more calculated about it, and just more refined about your approach. I think for B2B businesses, when I look at like, I go to some of their websites, it would be nice that when you go to a site and let's say you're looking for a new piece of software or service, it would be great to see like a logo farm along the bottom of companies that look like your company, right? And it's just something so simple and yet really powerful. You know, aside from the fancy stuff like dynamic content and things like that, but those are sort of the things that come to mind when I think of, you know, advanced personalization. And then to be able to do that at scale, it's really difficult to do it at scale, right? Because you wind up setting up, you know, for lack of a better word, a rule that you have a segment or an audience that you say, hey, if this and that, if they come to the site, show them X, Y, Z. And before you know it, you layer on so many of those because your audiences are so complex that it just becomes unmanageable. And that's where AI really helps sort of scale that and bring it down to a more manageable level.
One of the ways I think of it is customization versus personalization. So
Hmm.
customization is putting your name on the email or putting a hero that represents an industry that you're from. It doesn't, that's an inside out thing. And personalization, I think, is an outside in thing. Like marketers shouldn't control personalization. The user, through actions or inactions and whatnot, are kind of carving their path. And as you said, like buyer's journey stage and things like that become really important because that's actually a reflection of a company, a buyer, you know, in what they've done or not done.
Yeah, I like that analogy a lot. It also has to be sort of nuance, like invisible service, right? You pull up to a hotel, you check in, by the time you get to your room, your bags are already there, right? And you're kind of all set up. It's sort of similar, right? I don't really want to know. I know that the internet and the world tracks every move that I make on the internet, but I don't want to feel like I'm being tracked. I would like it to feel natural.
Right, right.
Right.
It can
And
be
I think
creepy
that that's,
easily.
yeah, very easily.
Hey, Tracy,
So
thank you for coming back.
yeah. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, do you remember when Google first launched their dynamic ads and you could create these ads that would be like, hey, Best Buy or whoever, and or hey, first name, and it was just so creepy to see those ads like on a basic website that you'd be browsing.
Yeah,
It's like, oh my
yeah.
God, that Google knows or whoever knows that where I am, they know that I'm on this site. It's so creepy. Yeah. Have you ever
So like you
done
said, we
those?
know they know, but we don't want to feel creeped out.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a skill to that. So that's part of it. So you may need to tone back some of your personalization that you can do to keep the creep factor down or keep the spooky stuff.
Could you repeat that?
You'll tone
Or,
back the personalization so it doesn't
uh,
appear creepy.
Yeah, I think there's lots of ways you can do that. I mean, you don't have to use dynamic content, right? Certainly, a logo farm or an image like on a retail site of a person that looks like you, right? Or is in your age group, for example.
Mhm.
Then it might be for you. Um, Same for B2B, right? Like maybe an industry image that is similar to yours. It doesn't seem so, but again, like the logo farm, I think is a perfect example of, I want to see companies that are my size. Case studies. I want to see those that are companies that I can relate to, not case studies for large enterprise companies that you are going after. That's great. It does show you have credibility, right? But it
Or a
doesn't,
case study that's already been downloaded by that same user.
right.
Show them the next one. Show them a
Yeah.
white paper. Show them a video. That
Yeah. Or, hey, you've downloaded this in the past, you might like this, or recommended piece of content. Yeah, I think that that's okay if you've already given your information and then someone says, hey, well, you've already downloaded this, I thought you might find this useful. That's a helpful suggestion, right? I can choose, I have a choice. It's not forced personalization, right?
okay.
To your point,
So
it's on
your
from the outside
yeah,
in, yeah.
yeah. Your presentation on Monday at the B2BMX, what should people expect to hear from you and from your client? What's high level?
Yeah, so I am we're talking with Russell Banzan, who's the VP of Marketing of Gong. And we are going to talk about how Gong uses Intellimise to personalize for every visitor that comes to their website.
Gong's a great marketing company.
They are a great marketing company. Yeah. They have a
And
great
their
product.
their clients are marketers. So you
Yes,
got a
yes.
marketing client with marketing clients as their client.
Well, they also have salespeople too, I'm sure, their clients, but yes.
Yeah. But it should be good. I mean, yeah, I'm not able to go, but I look forward to hearing about it. I think it'll be recorded too.
You'll
So,
definitely be able
and
to
then,
catch it on demand.
yeah, I think so. As far as the B2B MX, are you a regular there? Have you been before?
I have been before. I did not go last year. We actually had two events at the same time. So we had to divide and conquer. So I was on the other side of the country during that time, but I did go the year before. So
Yeah, that's always a good event. That's one of my favorite marketing events of the year.
yeah, you get to hang out with your other B2B comrades and swap war stories. Always fun.
Are you
And
going
the
to go to the
Phoenician
whole thing
is
and have a
beautiful.
chance to you have a chance to go to other speakers and such?
Yeah, I'll definitely have a chance to do that. But I have other folks manning the booth, so I'll definitely be able to get around and check out some sessions. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity. So I'm
Mark, are you
jealous.
going?
No, I'm not. It's my first time in, well, I guess COVID I missed. Um, but I just love that event, and the people that put it on are really special and good people. The Phoenician is beautiful. So yeah, I'm sure it'll be a great event.
Yeah. Well, for any of your listeners, you can come by booth 210 and check out Intellimise and check out Russell and I's talk. So that'll be fun.
You can. You
Indeed.
can.
Yeah.
Getting back to the personalization and AI is a favorite thing of mine. It's hot now, but I guess it's been around. Just wasn't always called have the same buzz or whatever. But what are the aspects of AI that you're implementing? It's affecting the messaging. I guess in this you have some standard segmentation that you're dealing with as far as when people come to the site, you're able to segment people from different types of ways. I mean, what's the AI aspect of your solution, I guess is.
Yeah. So I think when people hear AI, they think of generative AI. We do have some features of generative AI in our product, but our product is mostly proprietary AI. It's been around for over 8 years, been tested on 10 billion plus web pages. The personalization that we bring is we basically deliver up the variation of the website that is most likely to convert. So we help you personalize and engage every visitor in the likelihood that they'll most likely to convert.
And then you've got AI, AB and multivariate testing capabilities. So the
Yeah,
clients can try different aspects out, which is pretty cool.
yeah, we're an all-in-one platform, so we offer A/B testing as well as personalization, and then you can layer the AI on top of either of those.
I heard you mention
Pretty cool.
targeting earlier as well. So are you doing that testing within cohorts then, or?
You can, so you can set it up for a specific audience if you'd like.
Mhm.
You can also split the traffic. It doesn't have to be a 50-50 split in random. It can be, you can be a 70-30 split or, we have a holdout group. You can create a specific audience to layer on top of that if you'd like. And the audiences, there's a couple things that are built into the platform that are proprietary, and then there's ways that you can bring in your first party data, like your CRM or your marketing automation platform. We have a Google Ads integration that's native that allows you to, target even down to the keyword, right? And or ad group or campaign. We have a thing that's called enhanced match where we do the reverse IP lookup automatically. It's built into the platform and then tweaked a little bit with our AI. So yeah, lots of different things that allow you to target, and you can get as broad or as simple as you'd like. So it's really up to the end user how they want to do it.
Excellent.
Yeah. And we just rolled out something cool, AI generated landing pages. So you can give it a prompt. It's one of the other generative AI features that we just rolled out, and it will actually go and recreate the landing page for you with copy based on your prompt. So like a good use case is like, hey, I want to, tailor this page for a specific industry or a specific job function, and it'll go through and
So
give you
that would be
suggestions.
a generative AI
Yeah,
example,
that's a generative AI example.
including graphics.
Not yet.
Yeah,
Cool.
definitely not the Google Gemini graphics though.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. No. Have you seen some of those?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Fun stuff.
Yeah.
So, Mark, any final questions, or either of you,
No,
final
I think
words of
what you
wisdom
guys are
and
working on is really fantastic stuff. I mean, improving conversion rates, back in the day is, you know, I felt confident we can go to any company and boost their conversion by 30%. And everybody thought that they did everything perfect. And it's like, well, test, target, adapt, improvise, and you could almost invariably pull at least 30% better improvement. And so, and that's a direct reflection on what you can do with paid media and the value of it. I'm a wholehearted believer in that.
Oh yeah. I mean, just like ads have, you put an ad in and Google says, well, we'll figure out, here's 5 variations of this ad and we'll figure out who to show it to, kind of thing. That's essentially what we do, but with the website.
Mhm.
Yeah, works very similarly.
and Tracy, are you dealing with forms or formless content? You both ways, I guess,
You mean, can you personalize forms
or
and
gated or not gated, I guess. Um, so dealing with a visitor, and I mean, there's an issue of whether you put a gate in front of the content or not, or whether you give them the content and ask them later maybe who they are or whatever. I don't know, but I guess I guess your solution works either way.
yeah, I
Well,
mean, we can target known visitors as well as anonymous visitors.
I guess
But
that's what I'm asking. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's really up to the marketer to decide, to gate or not gate, right? You could not gate for known visitors if you'd like, and if that's your methodology. I sort of am in the middle of that, the no gate thing. Um, I don't know how you feel about it, Mark, but I've always sort of am of the ilk of like, I think certain things should be free. Case studies, infographics, blogs, even some webinars to some extent, maybe not all. But like high value content, like a buyer's guide or something that you paid externally to do like a joint report with somebody, like we did one with the AI Marketing Institute. Um, those things I think you need to gate. Um, but generally speaking, I think there's a lot that you can not gate. And I know I have some marketing friends who are like, no forms, none of that. But I feel like some of the stuff you just have to. So I don't know. What are your thoughts, Mark?
the first thing that I look at is people that gate um, content that they've sent me an email about.
Yeah, that's the
It's like,
worst.
You
yeah,
already
it's
know
like,
who you
come
are.
on, that's just plain lazy and stupid, right?
Yeah,
There's no
yeah,
reason at all that you need to gate that. And, if you start paring away what it is that you already know, so like using your personalization solution, you have a first party cookie, you recognize who the person is, and you offer ungated content, all you can eat buffet. I think that's smart. Then you can keep tally on your side as to, all the different downloads and the actions and things like that. So I don't think it's a pendulum that should be one side or the other. I think where you were heading, Tracy, is that some material, if you don't know who the person is, it's anonymous, it's valuable material.
yeah,
It's a webinar with a forester analyst. It's a research report. It's something that's really valuable. Gate it.
yeah.
There's significant value and cost in that. And I don't think there should be anybody that would deny that if it's an anonymous visitor. If I know who you are and you come and you want to register for my webinar, I'll make it seem like it's ungated to you. I just want you to do it as fast as you can, make it as easy as possible. And yeah, but I think there's some things that are just easy for us to like not even argue about, which is like you send me an email, you send me somewhere to download something, don't freaking gate it. Like it's
Yeah.
that's just irritating.
It is irritating. It's like you already know who I am. Can't you just I have had it where, you click on the link and at least when I get to the form, my information's filled in for me, so I don't have to retype it. So that's nice.
Mm.
Like at least get me to that point, right? If you have to put me through a form.
The,
But yeah.
the worst I'd ever seen was a form. It was like 12 fields long, and the first question was gender.
Oh my gosh.
It was like, oh my goodness, I just cringed. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, it's probably still true. If you ask more than 3 or 4 fields, it drops about 10% for each field until you get to zero,
Yeah.
and maybe even more than that. And but having gender as the first one was just creepy.
It's creepy. And also, it's interesting. I worked at a company this is like 8, 10 years ago, and the initial form that was on the site was really long. It had like 9 fields, so it had way too many. Um, but the product and engineering team came along and said, "We just want the email address. We'll backhaul all that other data," which they never were really able to do well. Again, this is like 10 years ago. It's tools have evolved since. And I remember thinking, well, we don't even know who these people are. Like they gave us, and you didn't ask for business email, you just asked for any email address. And so it was kind of a mess. So I do think, if you don't have a way to understand who that is, or you don't have a mechanism in place to ask for the business email address, if you're a B2B company or something like that, then you probably want to ask for a few more fields. But generally speaking, these days you should be able to infer all that data. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, there's a lot
it's
of
not always
companies that,
accurate, but it's close.
yeah, if the match rate is reasonable, it could more than make up for you'll get more conversion with less fields, but if you can match what you get at a high rate, um, I think that's a kind of a win,
Yeah,
kind of the form fill automation type stuff.
yeah. You're happy, customers happy, everybody's happy.
Exactly.
Everybody wins.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, well, your time, guys. This is good. If you want to keep talking, we can, but um, respectful of your time. Any final words of wisdom or suggestions before I let you go?
The margaritas at the opening night party are really good at the BDBMX. So, do have some of those. And
Okay, I'll have one for you.
thank you. And then in the outdoor dining area, there's a guy that carries a falcon and just to keep the birds away.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's really fun. Like you just, to see this raptor, it's just like it's really beautiful. Those were a couple of things that weren't really on the agenda that I really enjoyed when I was there. So I just shared those things.
Yes, that and the fire pits. And so it should be fun.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, you guys, thanks so much for having me. This was so great and appreciate it. And I'd love to do chat with you more anytime about whatever you want to talk about.
Well, we'll connect when you get back. Okay, Tracy, take care. And thank
Sounds
you so
good, Mark.
much. Had a great time.
Thanks. Thanks, Bob. Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.